Okay, good morning, everyone. So today we are again meeting in the next class of ours where we will be discussing some case studies with the applications of geoinformatics into different fields of geotourism, then this uh, tourism and the potential sites of tourism as far as the different types of tourism activities are concerned. Then we are also going to take up a case study where we will be seeing the impact of various tourism activities and the correlation of the forest fires, okay, which are having a lot of concern in various cities where we have tourism potentials. And then we are also going to um, see one more case study on the human elephant conflict. In as a case study we have taken up one area of Jharkhand, that is Palamu, elephant tiger reserve, which is very commonly known for this kind of activity. Then we have also taken up Sariska National Park for various types of habitat suitability map for the different tigers. Okay, so these are four case studies which we will be briefly discussing in today's lecture. So first, let's take a case study on geopotential tourism activities in Shimla district of Himachal Pradesh. As you all know, that Shimla is very popularly, rather complete Himachal, that is popularly known for its tourism activities and the various scenic adventure tourism. So through the applications of geoinformatics, we now we have taken up this case study where we will be studying the geospatial approach for allocation of potential tourism gradient sites in a part of Shimla district in Himachal Pradesh. Now here we will be seeing how different geospatial tools and technologies they are being used for the allocation of potential tourism sites as far as their different types are concerned. Now, if you see then various kinds of tourism is there in case of especially Shimla district, the case study which we are taking up. So there we found the mainly people they are coming for either scenic beauty or for the adventure tourism kind of things. So main objective of this study, and this is my own study during my PhD work. Um in here, through this study, through this article, I am just trying to convey you the application of GIS tools for allocation of potential tourism sites in the particularly Shimla district of Himachal Pradesh. That was my case study during my PhD. So here we found the main objective of this article is to review the type of tourists' interest in Shimla and suggest the action plans for the eco-friendly way. So there is a need of unified efforts in the direction and to make Shimla an all year around attraction for the visitors as well as for the Shimla itself. So we have used the geospatial tools and technologies to find out the gradient suitability in respect to the adventure and scenic beauty depending upon the tourist interest. So we have tried to demarcate these sites onto the Shimla district where people can opt for opt for the tourism activities as per their interest. If they want to go for adventure tourism, they can opt for that kind of studies. But if they want to go for the scenic beauty, they want to roam around and enjoy the scenic places in and around, then they can opt for those kind of studies. So what we have done in this case study, Let's discuss. As I told you, there were two types of tourisms which we found in the study area, that is adventures and wilderness, and then the scenic beauty. So we have used different, methods of modeling to get results. We have gone through different literature surveys on the basis of which we have opted this studies. So here, in this case, we have opted for Himachal Pradesh, Shimla district. This is the specification of this, study area. And then this is the major flora and fauna types which we will be I will be showing you the as a map also. Then we have also plotted the historical tourist states in the area. Okay, so this is the map showing the the study area for which we have taken a part of Shimla district for our case study, which is the Taradevi Forest Range of Shimla Forest District. And then this is a, you know, area calculation we could make out that there is a not suitable site as far as the tourism potential is concerned, only 0.1%. Rest, the complete area is either moderately suitable for the different kinds of activities or mostly suitable, we found. So around 99% area out of 100%, 99.9% area was found suitable for the any kind of tourism activities. Then, as far as the scenic tourism is, concerned, if you go through the adventure tourism, where we have different kinds of sports activities or trekking or climbing on the this thing, those kind of activities, then skiing, those kind of things, if you see. So not suitable sites for the adventure tourism is around 38%. Less suitable site is around 41%. Only 3% is most suitable sites. So mostly the area which we have opted for our studies is found suitable for the scenic tourism, whereas very less area found suitable for adventure tourism. So, for the analysis of these kind of things, we have taken or we have followed this kind of methodology where we have used the satellite data of list 4 and list 3 also. We have also used the topographical data, that is SRTM or ESTER-DEM data. Then we have used the biodiversity related data sets where we have demarcated the flora and faunal distribution on the area. Then we have also created some GIS layers which are based on some topographical sheets or some other data sets. So, with the help of list 3, list 4 data, we have calculated the land use land cover map from the Ester data. We have extracted the different topographical layers where the slope and aspect was taken into consideration. And then we have also taken the biodiversity where the various flora and fauna, the forest types and the various species were taken into consideration. And then we have also created different GIS layers which we have roads, forest, settlements and water bodies, which are also very important layers as far as the environmental aspects are concerned. So based on all these things, we have reclassified, we have demarcated the protection areas as per the availability of different endangered or umbrella species. And then based on the environmental aspects, we gone for different kinds of GIS modeling. And then finally, we have tried to go for the accuracy assessment and then ground truth data incorporated with the different weights as per their adventure or scenic potential sites. We have demarcated, assigned them the weights to these different layers which are there as an environmental aspects, related layers, slopy aspects, So we have taken assigned the weightage to the different layers as per their importance, as far as the adventure tourism is concerned, and then as far as the scenic tourism is concerned. So uh, based on that, we got the potential ecotourism spots available with us for adventure tourism, and potential ecotourism spots as per the scenic beauties were calculated based on the complete methodology which I have just discussed with you. So anybody can work on this aspect also, and they can also plan for the type of tourism into different areas of Himalayan terrain. So based on these things, the main outputs or the things which we could calculate, that is these are the different outcomes of different maps where we demarcated the range boundaries into this, where we have demarcated the slope in the area, where we have demarcated the various forest types in the areas, the settlements. Then this is the aspect map of the area. This is the elevation map of the areas. Now these are the basic layers which I have also shown in the methodology. So these are the map as per that. Then we have done the indexing of these maps, and based on which we got the final layout map as a scenic beauty potential map, where the areas which are shown in blue, they has got the maximum potential, whereas in one they have got little less potential zones. Now here, in case of this, we have got the adventure tourism sites, and these are the areas showing the various potential sites of tourism. So this is one case study which we have performed for the tourism point of view, where we have tried to give the tourists the two different types of tourism activities, which for which they can easily access to those places as per their interest. If they want to go for adventure tourism, what are the suitable sites, and if they want to go for scenic beauty kind of things, for just roam around and enjoy the in and around sceneries, so then they can opt for these areas. So this is one kind of case study which we have performed with the help of geoinformatics. Now the second case study is the impact of now the second case study is the conservation impact of human intrusion on tiger habitat conservation using integrated geospatial techniques. Now here we are trying to access the human intrusion onto the tiger habitat conservation areas, and trying to go for a conservation using so that we can go for the protection of these habitat areas where we have the human intrusion. Okay, so through this case studies, the we have tried to give give the areas of conflict, and if we have demarcated those areas, then we can easily go for the planning of those areas, so that the intrusion of human into these habitats can be stopped or managed. Okay, so for this case study, we have taken the Sariska National Park of Rajasthan. Okay, so Sariska is a protected area in India facing immense threats due to the local community residing within. So this is one case study. There are so many areas where the same problem for different habitats is being a problem, and then this is taking up a shape of conflict between those animals and human, and sometimes that led to loss of human life, or loss of some agriculture products or some other kind of things. So Sariska is a protected area in India facing immense threat due to the local communities residing within the potential sites of these habitats. So potential best suitable tiger habitats with and without anthropogenic interfaces are identified using geospatial techniques and show a twofold increase in highly suitable areas for tigers in absence of settlements revealed enhanced habitat suitability index. So here in this case study we have tried to build up a human suitability index through MCDA, AHP, overlay analysis, and then relocation in the settlements also taken into considerations. So as I told you, we are through these case studies we are trying to go for different kinds of applications of GIS into different areas. So our second case study is on the human elephant conflict management through human set suitability index mapping. Okay, so in one of the world's most endangered carnivores and an umbrella species is Indian tiger is now the verge of extinction in wild. Okay, so we have to come up with the some solutions so that these extinctions can be taken over as a management point of view. Okay, so here in this case study, the Sariska National Park was taken as a study area. So here in this case study, uh, uh, different methods where we have calculated the human habitat suitability index. Okay, using different modeling techniques which includes the multi-criteria decision making, the analytical hierarchical process, and fuzzy. They were taken into considerations. So various proximity analysis for each parameter has been carried out. So we have taken various parameters which we will be going through by seeing the methodology. Okay, so here you can see the complete methodology. This is a study area. Okay, so GIS, MCDA, CAHP. Okay, cumulative analytical hierarchical process and weighted overlay was taken for the consideration. Okay, so what we have done, we have firstly tried to demarcate the Sariska National Park here, and then we have gone for the integrated geospatial techniques, and then we have gone through the proximity analysis for different parameters, and then we have used the GIS MCDA, where we have gone through the cumulative analytical hierarchical process and the weighted overlay, and then we have gone for the analysis in presence of settlements, and we have also did the analysis in absence of the settlements. So you can see here the final output map, the habitat suitability maps, where we have got the map where in one map the absence of settlement is there in this case, and in one map the presence of settlements is there, and based on that we got the habitat suitability index done, and then this is a final habitat suitability index maps. So here the areas in brown they found to be the most suitable areas as far as the suitability habitat suitability is concerned, and the areas in pink and light blue, they are the areas where the low suitability index is found. Okay, so we have used various parameters, various proximity analysis, various weighted overlay operations, where we could able to overlay different layers which can be taken into consideration for these kind of analysis. So this is the second case study where we have discussed about the habitat suitability index. Now you can see in the table that these are the parameters we taken into consideration, where the vegetation type, the type of forest was taken into consideration. Then the vegetation density also taken into consideration, settlements, water holes, drainage, road, and slope. Okay, so since road and slope, they are the a little bit disturbing elements, so we have assigned them little lesser values. Okay, then the area calculation for the both the cases, in presence of the this thing, settlement and absence of settlements, we have got the results for suitable and poor, poorly suitable, moderately suitable, very suitable, and highly suitable areas. So if you see, so this is aerial statistics in square kilometers of these distributions. In case of first case, where the population intrusion is there, where there is no population, then the unsuitable area is 0 square kilometer in both the cases. If you see poorly suitable, in both the cases it is varying. It is 207 in case of a square kilometer, in case of the presence of settlements. In the absence of settlements, it is around 324 square kilometer. Whereas if you see the highly suitable or very suitable areas, that is 32 square kilometer and 412 kilometers square kilometers in case of presence of settlements. But it is in case of absence, it is around 375 square kilometer and 64 square kilometer, as far as the highly and very suitable areas are concerned. Now, about the tiger habitat suitability index, this is the graph showing the habitat suitability index classes. Okay, cases. So this is the square kilometer areas along with their classes. So in class 3 or level 3, it is found to be the highest. Okay, so based on this kind of studies, by collaborating different kinds of analysis or different kinds of integration of data sets, we can have this kind of habitat suitability index for tiger or for other elements. So here you can see the authors, they have tried to show the human suitability index by plotting the male, female, and settlements. Actually, if you see, their habitat suitability is found to be best in these areas, and here the male and female suitability for this areas is found to be suitable. Okay, so this is the actual points we have tried to plot it on the habitat suitability maps. So these are few field photographs of village intrusion of Kankawari in core zone of Sariska National Tiger Reserve. So during the work, the different authors are, we were thankful to the different forest officials and our organizations who could have helped us during this uh, research of ours in getting different kinds of data sets and all those kind of things. So this is one more application which through which you can see the how we can go for the impact of human intrusion onto the different kinds of habitat conservation, and how we can go for the human habitat suitability index calculation using different layers and different methods. Now, in case of the third study, in which we are trying to go for a case study where the elephant habitat suitability using geoinformatics for Palamu Tiger Reserve has been done, which is situated in the Jharkhand. So this is a case study of Jharkhand Palamu Tiger Reserve, which is very famous for the tiger reserve as well as the elephants also. So very frequent there you will find a elephant habitat conflict. So we, through this study, we try to find out the habitat suitability for the elephants in this case study. So geoinformatics, it's as I told you previously also, it plays an important role to understand human wildlife conflicts and the conservation of various natural resources. So there have been increase in the incidence of human and elephant conflicts, due to which the encroachments into the forest areas and habitat degradation has been taken place. So the objective of specifically this case study, which we are going to discuss now, is to analyze the habitat suitability factors, like or is to be familiar with the factors what are responsible for these kind of human suitability index calculations. So here in this case study we have tried to take up few habitat suitability factors, which includes the forest type, the drainage, slope, aspects, contours, elevation, etc. So with the help of these geospatial techniques, in untimated life mapping, characteristic calculation, asset arranging, administration especially in creating nation as yet constrained by absence of fitting the size, information, equipment, programming, and skills. So through this application of or utilization of these geospatial tools, we try to map, we try to characterize, we try to incorporate these non-spatial and spatial data sets into a single platform. And through these techniques we try to also demarcate these habitat suitability areas for elephants, especially in that case where there are a lot many problems due to conflict between these basic amenities with the people who are encroaching into those areas is being taken place. So let's directly come to the study area part. So study area was taken as Jharkhand, a Palamu Tiger Reserve of Jharkhand, India. Okay, so this is a satellite image of Palamu Tiger Reserve, which is also known as PTR. Then different materials and methods were used into the consideration. So we have gone for the visual interpretation based on which different spectral signatures of particular features on satellite image and topographical maps were taken into consideration, and on the basis of which we have mapped for different forest type and densities, and also the elevation aspect and the slope of the area was also calculated based on the different maps which we have extracted through the digital elevation models. And then we have also trying to map the various roads and maps, settlement maps of this area. Then the PTR boundary was also demarcated with the help of JSEC and Jharkhand Space Application Center and the Forest Department of the Jharkhand. And then the different indices were taken into consideration, where we have gone for the forest density characterization using different models and techniques. So these are the different data sets which we have taken into consideration. We have calculated the aspect, contour, and elevation maps. We have also generated the LULC map. We have also created the density map, which was based on the NDVI classification. We have also used the different kinds of secondary data sets, where we have used Survey of India topographical sheet for the demarcation of the transportation route and the drainage networks. And we have plotted those transportations and drainage onto the different satellite images. We have also used the secondary data sets which we have collected from the Jharkhand Space Application Center for the forest type and village mapping. And then we have also collected some data sets from the Project Tiger, from which we have tried to extract the information which is related to the crop raiding data, PTR boundaries, movement of the elephants, and the beat map and the range map of the PTR. Then this is a complete methodology which we have taken into consideration, where we have used the satellite data sets, secondary data sets, and the topographical maps for the creation of base map. And based on the base map, we have rectified the satellite image. Then we have also gone for the pre-field work, from which helped us into the AOI extraction. The basic layers were created for the forest type and density, topography, where we have taken the elevation and aspect into consideration, and the accessibility, where we have taken the transportation and the settlement into consideration. Then for the all the layers, we have also created the indexing map, and then based on the indexing maps, we have calculated the habitat suitability index maps. So this is a complete methodology which we have adopted for the demarcation of the different boundaries. As far as the results are concerned, these are few observations or the results which we have concluded through this study, where the principal target of the review was to create the natural surrounding reasonable delineate on overlay examinations. Natural surroundings appropriate the guide was made utilization or the weightage examining strategies in light of learning. So the different kinds of boundaries, initially we have created the boundary of PTR. Then based using different data sets, we have trying to demarcate or come up with the different layouts. And then these are the different layers which we able to get from these maps, where we have got the initial drainage map done. Okay, so these are different nalas, different rivers, and the PTR boundary plotted over this. Then the forest type map was created, where we got these many categories of forest: dry bamboo, dry deciduous scrub, dry mixed deciduous forest, dry peninsular sal forest, teak forest, and non-forest area, with moist peninsular low level sal forest also we found. So now this is a map where we have tried to show the different aspects with their directions. Elevation map, where we have 206 as a minimum elevated area and maximum as a 1088 meters. Then we have this contour maps extracted from the dam map, and then we have this final map as the suitability index in the area, where we got the blue color, which is denoting the very high suitable area, followed by this purple color, highly suitable, followed by this pink color, which is showing the moderately suitable area for the habitat suitability, followed by less and very less in yellow and dark yellow color. So these are the major conclusions of this case study. So with the use of remote sensing and GIS, innovation in untamed life mapping, normal asset arranging, and administration, especially in creating the nations, is not yet restricted by the absence of proper size information, equipment, programming, and the skills. The future research in the natural life demonstrating ought to the concentrate of the growing more practical dynamic models of the untamed life and space. So, through this case study, we can say that by overlaying different layers, different maps, we could able to get this habitat suitability index maps, which is being quantified with the field data sets, whether actually these are the sites. And now these site, if we know these are the potential habitat sites of these elephants, for these elephants, so we can plan for the uh, you know activities through which these habitats cannot be disturbed anyhow by the activities of human beings, or by the activities of other the activities of interruption into those habitats. So if we know these kind of things, we can plan for the better management, whether it is with related to the habitat suitability maps, whether it is related to the forest fires maps, whether it is related to the different kinds of forest damage related activities. So through these lectures or through these case studies, what I want to convey here from this platform, that these kind of studies, they are very helpful for any kind of forest management activities, whether they are related to the wildlife, whether they are related to the tourism activities, whether they are related to the different other aspects which are related to the forest management activities. So with this, I think I have tried to explain you some application areas and the potential areas of geoinformatics, where the planning, the management, and the other resource mapping for different things can be done in a very proper manner. So this is a tool. If you are applying these kind of tools, so in a single go, we can go for better plannings, we can go for better management strategies for our natural resources, out of which forest is a very important natural resource. So with this, I'm ending my today's talk, and now you all can appear for your quiz through your LMS. Thank you very much.